This is Vivaldi doing Autumn from his Four Seasons musical classical piece. I figured it would be good because today is September 1st. It is the beginning of meteorological fall. Autumn, whatever you want to. Granted, fall doesn't actually start until the 23rd of September, but it is September 1st. And this is a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 311, back to fall. It is fall. Fall is my absolute favorite season in the whole world. And I'm very glad and happy that we're back here again. It's also back to Hogwarts. For those who read the Harry Potter stuff, September 1st is the day when everyone goes back to Hogwarts to begin their school year. So they're probably just about there, because it's now night, I think, over in England right now, or Scotland, which is where it takes place. So we'll see what happens. But we're not here to talk about that too much. We might talk a little bit about it. But we've got a lot of interesting stuff going on. First, we got animal stuff. We've got movie stuff. We've got stupid people stuff. We've got creepy people stuff. We've got Bigfoot. We've got Skeeter the cat. More animals. A interesting football story. NASA has some interesting things to discuss. Ancient ruins discovered, weird fossils discovered. Oh, and a massive giant killer hurricane is actually heading in the direction of the eastern seaboard. So we'll probably give a little bit about all this stuff. It should be a fairly short episode. I only got 2 pages worth of stuff. It is Labor Day weekend, so thankfully tomorrow we also have off, and then it's back to normal. Kids go back to school, back to work, and then we start getting into fall proper. The temperature seems to be, here in my area, will be seeming to be embracing fall. I mean, granted, today is going to be 81, tomorrow's going to be 87. 85 Tuesday, 91 on Wednesday. That doesn't sound like it, does it, Dylan? But no. Thursday is going to be 72. Friday, 74. Saturday, 80. Sunday, 77. Monday, 74. Tuesday, 77. So getting into mid-September, we're getting into the mid-70s, which is normal temperatures, which I've said before. I truly believe that with these normal average temperatures we've been getting, that our fall foliage here in Maryland will actually be fairly breathtaking this year, due to the fact that, with foliage, it's all dependent upon weather. If you have a too wet summer with too much rain, it's all green still all the way through till like proper October, November time. And so when it starts getting cooler and the leaves start changing, because they've been so healthy for so long, the colors are not as vibrant. They're more dull and not as exciting. And bye, have fun, sell well. Sorry, kids are going off to do popcorn now. So I got that going. But when it's too hot, it kills stuff quicker so that it dries out quicker and it gets weaker quicker. So when the cold weather hits, it causes it to die quicker. So you might get a quick flash of colors, but then it disappears. A summer like this, where we've had a couple of really, really hot weeks and fairly average rain and average temperatures, meaning upper 80s here in the area, it just basically means that everything is going to be average, so that by the time that, hopefully when the weather starts shifting in about a month or so, the chlorophyll or whatever in the leaves that causes the change of the stuff will in fact turn it into brighter colors, because it's not too hot, it's not too wet. So it'll be the bright, and it'll stay longer also, which is a good thing too. So we'll see what happens. I'm expecting it to be, I could be totally wrong, but I'm expecting it to be that way. So since I have a very short time, let's get moving. Yes, it is back to Hogwarts Day. I'm wearing my Hufflepuff shirt. Obviously, I wouldn't be going back to Hogwarts unless I was a teacher. But because I'm not a student anymore, because I was a student. I left in 1990s when I graduated from Hogwarts, a year before Harry Potter showed up. So I was around after the death of Lord Voldemort, or the alleged death of Lord Voldemort, and before Harry Potter showed up. But the funny thing is, my son is reading Harry Potter right now. He is on the 4th book right now. So he's moving right along with that. Considering he just started about maybe a month or so ago, he's moving really, really quickly. Which is really cool. So there's that. But then I started thinking about it, is that my daughter, who read the Harry Potter series a number of times and is a fan of it as well. I just realized that, if you go to Hogwarts on your 11th birthday, Noelle would have gone to Hogwarts in 2017. She was born in 2006. And looking back at the Potter history, 2016 or 2017 is the year that Albus Potter and Weasley's daughter, or son rather, daughter, and Malfoy's son, all characters from The Cursed Child, it was their first year also. So Noelle would be in the same class as those characters. So I just find that kind of interesting. Yes, I know it's geeky. Yes, Hogwarts is not real, blah, blah, blah. I know, but still, it's just fun to imagine those types of things. Noah wouldn't be able to go till next year, so we'll see what happens. But he's Gryffindor. I'm Hufflepuff. Dawn is Ravenclaw. Noelle's Ravenclaw. So we're fully a Harry Potter family now. Dog falls into a canal and almost drowns until a pod of dolphins save him. So that's pretty cool. See animals working together, particularly dolphins who have been known to be, fairly nice to other creatures, and helping them out is doing that as well. Nathan Fillion will be joining James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Nathan Fillion worked with James Gunn on his first film, Squirm, or something about those alien snake things, or whatever. So he's going to be popping up in that one. As is, I think, Dave Bautista is going to be in it as well. And it's going to be an interesting thing. It's coming out I don't think it's 2020. I don't think they've even started filming it yet. It might not be till 2021. So, because I don't think Guardians of the Galaxy is even been scheduled yet by Marvel. So we'll see what happens about that. Playgrounds for older adults boosts activity and decreases loneliness. You just build these little things on, little plots of land or near nursing homes or whatever. Why are you meowing? Jinx is meowing. I hope she's not going to get sick. But, having playgrounds around for older folks, they need activity as well. And, they go out there and while they're working on it, maybe they'll meet some new friends that they wouldn't have met before, or other people who are walking through, and it'd be kind of nice. So hopefully they'll start catching on a little bit more. Okay, so I did write this already. So, okay, so I've already done that one. Ava Longoria will be directing a film about the creation of the Flaming Hot Cheetos. Now, before you're like, what? Why are you doing that? The film actually makes a lot of sense because the person who created the Flaming Hot Cheetos idea was actually a Latin American person. And Ava Longoria, being Latin America, makes the perfect person to direct a movie about it and showing how a Latin American person can create stuff as much as anybody else. So pretty cool. I'm not trying to sound racist. I hope they didn't come out as being racist, but I think it's a neat idea. This is actually a funny story. So a man, drives someplace, leaves his car, and his car gets stolen. But what's ironic about that is the man who drove this car and parked it was actually parking it outside of a shop that he was going to rob. So basically, while this guy is robbing a store, his car gets stolen. That might be the funniest story of the year. One of the funniest ironic stories of the year. Not the funniest of the year, but at least the funniest of the week. That's really, really funny. A teacher was fired after being videotaped mowing their lawn naked. I'm not sure how I feel about that because A, they're not being naked with students. I guess they could conceivably be breaking a law by if there's some sort of nudity clause or whatever in your neighborhood or whatever, and you get videotaped getting mowing your lawn naked. Maybe that could be an issue, or they're just afraid that they're afraid that their teacher, that they're fine being naked while mowing the lawn would be fine being naked teaching, which I think is absolutely stupid, or would be someone who'd be more eager to have sex with one of their students. I don't know. Regardless, woman was fired. I don't know if it's a woman, but it just said teacher. So I didn't read the article fully, but it said teacher was fired after being videotaped mowing the lawn naked. Again, not sure how I feel about that. Um, so to be continued, I guess. This is a really creepy story. I mean, a really, really. I almost didn't put it in here, but I guess it's something I have written down, so I'll do it. Man has sex with his mom's corpse after he killed her with a walking stick after she resisted his rape attempt, which is just all in general, just a all bunch of wrong in that whole sentence. It's absolutely disturbing. And the fact that there are these types of people out there is mind blowing that stuff like this still happens like that. There's another one that I didn't write down, that there's a video of a family just walking and this woman just comes up to one of the children and slashes their face with a knife. What the hell did you do that for? They weren't bothering anybody. And then we have the two yahoos in Texas who were driving around just shooting random people yesterday in stolen cars, one being a mail car, a post office car. And one of these victims is a 17-month-old child shot in the face. What the hell is going on in this world right now? It's just absolutely so much going on in this world that is absolutely disgusting and horrible and terrible and horrifying. And on top of that, we have a hurricane barreling down on the East Coast, not knowing actually first it's going to hit Bermuda like head on in its full strength, which is right now a Category 5, which a lot of people are saying is the worst storm we have ever seen in history. Gee, what could be causing that? I don't know, maybe climate change, possibly, could be creating these types of storms appearing out of nowhere, being heavier than usual. This is going to be hitting Bermuda head on with its 180 mile per hour winds, 200 mile per hour gusts. It's a massive storm, and it's headed right for, well, who knows right now, because when this was first being broadcast, announced rather, it was heading towards Florida. So they were basically saying it was going to hit the entire state of Florida and then work its way up. Breaking up, obviously, once it went up Florida, it would turn just to be a massive storm and then hit the remaining eastern seaboard. Now they're saying, well, it could be shifting once it hits Bermuda and will be hitting North Carolina, South Carolina head on, and then rolling up the coast. We don't know. We're not going to know. But the storm is actually not really going to affect anybody until late this week, which is weird because that can't be right. It's going to hit Bermuda today. It looks like it's really, really close to Florida. If it doesn't go towards Florida, though, and heads up North Carolina, South Carolina, it slows. It should still hit by Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. They're talking about Thursday. I was like, I don't think it's going to be that late to hit North Carolina, South Carolina, unless it does some sort of weird thing. But hurricanes are unpredictable. Regardless, whoever is in the line, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, got friends and family all up and down that whole area. Please be safe. Evacuate if told to evacuate. Protect your house. Put up your wood boards, stuff like that. Hell, my cousin who lives in North Carolina, she took a picture of her husband cutting wooden boards so they can place up in front of their windows in case the storm ends up hitting them head on. So thoughts and prayers to them, which I think is you can still say it, but it's here's hoping nothing bad happens and nothing really happens. But on top of that, Florida residents are told or reminded in a PSA that was actually not an onion, but an actual PSA that was put out in Florida when the storm was first slated to hit Florida, not to shoot at the hurricane. Don't shoot your guns at the hurricane. That sounds like something the Onion would write. No, that's real life. Somebody actually had to make a PSA saying, do not shoot at hurricanes. Again, what is wrong with everybody and everything? And it's just everything is awful. This is even all. It's another, man, I'm just full of awful stories. A woman seeks advice after her fiance tells her that his dad, her soon-to-be father-in-law, has to inspect her hymen to make sure that she was a virgin. What the? I can't say it on a Sunday afternoon. What the frig are you talking about? That is absolutely, utterly insane. Ugh! God, what is up with everybody? Ugh, good Lord. That is like those don't know, the hymen is in the vagina. So her father-in-law would have to look at her vagina, maybe even stick something up it to make sure it was still intact. And what if it wasn't? Who gives a rat's ass if she's not a freaking virgin when she gets married? If it's a religious thing, fine, that's your religious thing. But sometimes you've got to sort of accept things, you know? And if you can't, then the fiance should have never asked the woman to marry him. Luckily, the woman has ended the relationship with this man, which I think is absolutely so. Before they could get married, he wanted his father, her soon to be father in law, to look at her vagina and stick some shit up there to see if she was still intact. So obviously, either she was or she wasn't. Obviously, either they didn't have sex or they did, and he was just going by his what his father ordered him to do. Ugh. Ugh, can we get out icky stuff? No, it's just a stupid thing. Bar patron shrugs off a gunman uh, and lights up a cigarette during a armed robbery at a St. Louis bar. So there's video of this dude just sitting at the bar looking at his phone. This guy comes in with this big ass gun and is robbing the place. And the dude just is sitting there like there's nothing going on, lights up a cigarette. I think the guy tried to steal his phone. He sort of grabbed it away from him so he wouldn't have it. And then the guy with the gun just said, okay, fine, and just moved on. But just weird. Are we that desensitized about things now? Or he just doesn't give a damn? I don't know. Pornhub. This is a good thing for those who want to watch some porn. This is actually going to recommend you to watch porn, and I will recommend you. You need to go watch porn. Why? Because Pornhub says they are going to plant a tree for every 100 videos watched. So they'll be able to see if 100 videos are watched. I don't think it's by you individually. I think it's by everybody. So you and 99 of your friends go flip on some porn and enjoy yourselves. And when you get 100, Pornhub will plant a tree because we need more trees. So it's odd in this day and age that a pornography website has more virtue than the United States government. That's saying quite a lot. I have to tell you that right now. Some sad news. Valerie Harper, famous for her sitcom Rhoda, and was also on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, been on a bunch of other things as well. My Girl, Sarah Michelle Gellar, her first movie, Valerie Harper played her mom. Valerie Harper passed away this week at the age of 80. I think it was Friday. She passed away at the age of 80. So thoughts and prayers for her family. That's where thoughts and prayers come in handy. It's fall, as I keep saying, meteorological fall, but it's still, to me, it's fall. And this year's flavor seems to be maple, because I found a French toast coffee creamer, which is okay. It's not as good as I thought it would be, but it's okay. It's more subtle than I wanted it to be, but it's still okay. It's out and about now from International Foods. I didn't actually see that, so it's weird. When I saw it, I was like, I never even heard about this thing. But Oreo continuing their dominance on, let's make a flavor for whatever we feel like. Their summer flavor was the mint chocolate chip ice cream. Their fall flavor is now going to be maple cream Oreos. And let me tell you something, those things are addictive. They taste almost like the popcorn, the kettle corn Oreos that they released last year, which were just as good, but this is more of a stronger maple syrupy flavor, and I think that's fantastic. So they're out now, so go to your local grocery store and go buy a small pack of the maple Oreos. They're with the vanilla Oreo family, so you get the vanilla wafer instead of the chocolate wafer. I don't know if the chocolate would taste as good with the maple flavor as the vanilla does, but they are amazing. They are so good. And I should have grabbed some yesterday. I was looking for something to eat after I came back from my sister-in-law's house for we had a crab feast there, and I wanted something sweet to eat, and I ended up not getting anything. But I should have thought, why don't I go back and get those maple cream? Because I got a thing of them upstairs. So we'll see. Actually, here is a good story for once, because I'm looking at the stuff. I've got a lot of bad stories. I got some interesting ones coming up too, but right now, this is a good story. Skeeter the cat. He's a little tabby cat that's lived with his owner for a long time. His owner unfortunately died at the age of 102 years old. So she's an older kitty. He's an older kitty. And after his owner passed away at 102, he had some trouble getting adopted. There were some unsuccessful adoptions. So this local community that these people lived in decided we should do something for this poor cat. So what they ended up doing was they worked together, the local community worked together, and with the thanks to a local bookshop, they said, can we have the cat hang out in your bookshop? I mean, I guess technically the bookshop owner becomes the owner of the cat, but instead, what they want to do instead was make it sort of like the bookshop is the central location for the cat, and the whole community takes care of the cat, because they set up a place for him to live in the bookshop, and so the cat wanders around the bookshop, and so everybody from town comes to the bookshop to pet the cat and leaves like letters and treats and stuff for the cat. So technically, I guess the community is taking care of the cat at the local bookshop. So that's kind of a neat little thing, and sometimes makes you wish you could move to a small town again and have stuff like that happen all the time. Here's a crazy person. Soccer mom breaks into a Botox clinic with a power saw, I guess, to get more Botox. So she got a power saw. She cut a hole in the wall or whatever, went in and got her Botox and left. So, okay. The NFL season starts on Thursday. I'm an NFL fan. The long preseason is over. The month-long preseason is over, and the month-long practice is over. So now we get it for real. This Thursday night, is the opening game of the NFL season. It is the 100th year of the NFL. So instead of the Patriots, who won the Super Bowl last year, opening the season on opening day, they've actually got the Bears versus the Packers, which are two teams from the heyday of the 100 years ago, one of the first ever football teams to be created, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. They will be playing a game to start the season. And then the Patriots get the Sunday night slot, obviously. Well, I mean, they won the Super Bowl, so it's good. I mean, at least other teams get the respect from the NFL when they win the Super Bowl, not the Ravens, though. For those like, what are you talking about? When the Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2000, they did not get a Sunday night game or a Monday night game. They got a regular 1 p.m. game to start the season. When the Ravens, because by that time they didn't start the season the Thursday before. Then when they won the Super Bowl in 2012, the Patriots bitched and moaned because the Ravens wanted to play the Patriots in the opening game because the Patriots were coming to Baltimore that year, and they wanted to play them because it was be a rematch of the AFC Championship game, with the Ravens won, that led them to the Super Bowl, and then their Super Bowl win in 2012. The Patriots didn't want to go on the road for their first game of the season, so they bitched and whined about it and got their way because the NFL sucks the Patriots' dick. And so the Ravens couldn't get a home game either due to some other stuff going on in the area. So they ended up having to open their season on Thursday, but in Denver. So it was just a stupid all-around thing. And they tried to blame the Orioles. The Orioles had nothing to do with it. They were trying to open up some stuff as well, but it was mostly the Patriots being douchebags, as they always are. The Ravens start away. They'll be playing in Miami on Sunday at 1 p.m. 1 week from today, actually, the NFL starts. The Redskins, the other team I follow that my wife's a big fan of, they will be playing the Eagles at home, I think. So that's good on that. And so the NFL is finally starting. Yay. So excited because it's my favorite sport because it's only 16 weeks long, longer if your team's in the playoffs, and then you have the Super Bowl at the end, and it's just a real quick sample size. It's during my favorite season of the year, fall, and all that. So I said for my dad this Christmas I would take him to a Ravens game, but he hasn't said anything about it. So maybe I need to follow up and say we try to get to a Ravens game this year. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited for my team. I'm looking forward to them. I think they'll have a good year, and that's all I say about that. College football started this week also. College football started yesterday, Saturday. Actually, it started technically like Friday, Thursday, whatever. A friend from work is a Clemson fan. He was extremely excited that his Clemson team, which was national champions left from last year, they started the season on a Thursday night. They crushed the Georgia Tech, who they were playing. It's like 52-10 or something like that. Then University of Maryland, which is my team, even though I didn't go to University of Maryland, I went to Albright, and I still follow Albright, and I haven't seen what their football score was yet, but University of Maryland, because they're local. My father-in-law is an alumnus. My wife went there for her master's, and it's local, and I like Maryland. They started their football season with a brand new coach and a brand new quarterback, and showed it too by blanking Howard University, which is not a huge school, but they blanked them 79-0, which was the second most points scored in Maryland history. And the reason why they didn't go for 2 to tie it is because a lot of people are saying that last year there was a lot of turmoil in the Maryland Terrapins football, including the death of a player during summer workouts. That player wore number 79, so they figured this would be the best way to praise him, or remember him. So they won 79-0. So we'll see what happens then later on. Towson, which is where my wife went to school, they won their first home game. That was a closer one. It was like 26-24, something like that, against the Citadel. Navy, which is another team I follow from Maryland, and because I have relatives who went to Navy as well, they handled their teams like 42-10. And unfortunately, I also am a Virginia Tech fan because my brother-in-law, Mike, we watched that game and they lost that one 35-28, which was a shame. So, but all in all, pretty good week. And then my nephew's college is App State. They won their game huge also, like a 42-7 or something like that. So they started off hot as well. I'll have to see how Albright does. That's my school, and see how they did. But I can see if I can look it up right now. See if they have the football score. Albright College football. Okay. Their schedule. They play. Oh, they don't start their season till September 6th against Salisbury University. All right. So, wow, homecoming is early this year, September 28th. Wow. They'll be they are in Stevenson University, which is right down the road from here, is in their same division. Their football team will be playing at Stevenson University on October 19th. Ooh. Let me write that down. I might have to go to that game. 10-19 Albright versus Stevenson. All right. So they didn't play. They don't start play until September 6th. So that's next Friday. They have a rare Friday night game, it looks like. So at Salisbury, versus Salisbury, I should say. So that's why I didn't hear anything about Albright. I mean, their other teams, their field hockey team is being filmed right now, and I think their girls soccer team, played yesterday, and they won their first game. So that's good on that. So football. Now let's talk about more football, actually. This is a really interesting story, though. The last time Oregon played Auburn was in the 2011 national championship. So we're going 8 years ago. So 8 years ago, Auburn played Oregon in the national championship. I think Oregon ended up winning that one, because I don't remember Auburn being a national champion recently. They showed a video after a Auburn touchdown of one of the Auburn players jumping into the stands. and it was on live. It was on national TV. So when that picture was taken, there's a little boy off to the side, 10 years old, I guess, I would say, um, who was a huge, super Auburn fan, loves Auburn, was dressed, decked out all in Auburn. I guess his parents were able to sort of get him to become a huge Auburn fan. His name is Bo Nix. Flash forward to yesterday. Bo Nix is now a true freshman starting quarterback for the Auburn Tigers. I guess Tigers, for Auburn. And they played Oregon last night in national television. And Bo Nix, that same 10-year-old kid who was shot on national TV at the national championship 2011, watching while a Auburn player jumped to the stands after scoring a touchdown, threw a game-winning touchdown on national TV against Oregon to win the game. Just kind of a neat little, interesting little story. So Auburn Tigers, maybe. I don't know. But that's just kind of, I know Oregon Ducks, but that's kind of a really kind of a fun and interesting little story off to the side. So I figured that would be kind of neat as well. An old feisty female cardinal bites the same scientist 8 years in a row. That's just got to be crazy. It's like, oh God, look at that bird. It's coming back and attacking me. How does it even happen? I find that really, really kind of interesting. So, wow. Here's kind of a creepy story. Tampa residents had to move after 120 coffins were discovered under their apartment complex. Apparently, and they didn't know this, somebody decided to build this apartment complex on an African-American graveyard and didn't tell anybody. And it just so happenstance that they were discovered, and they did more digging and discovered all these coffins. So this complex was built on top of sacred graveyard ground. So the residents are leaving so that the apartment can get destroyed and they can refurbish this African-American graveyard. So I hope, I'm glad that that's working for the family members whose family members were buried there. But I also hope these residents who had no idea that that's what it was, because nobody told them, that they are able to find suitable accommodations as well. So, good on everybody, but I'm glad that they are going to refurbish the cemetery and get it back to respectability, as it were. I feel like being kind of a jerk today. I don't know. I'm trying not to be, or racist. I'm not trying to be. Maybe I am. I don't know. I hope not. It's like, whatever. No, I don't really hope I'm not. These are three stories that are kind of connected in a weird way, but we'll see. You'll find out. Massive city and several pyramid-shaped objects have been discovered beneath Lake Fuxian in China. So nobody knows exactly what these are, if it's an ancient civilization or whatever. That's just been discovered recently. And that should make for some interesting archaeology if it's underwater. And it's a lake, so I don't know if you can just drain the lake and then dig everything up. I don't think you can do it. I mean, maybe you can. I don't know how big the lake is, but the fact is there is an ancient city that's buried under a lake. So either the lake was man-made or a natural catastrophe destroyed those ancient buildings and pyramids type objects, and the lake was formed around it. I don't know. Also, many unknown and ancient ruins have been discovered under the Sahara Desert as well. There's a picture of, looks like a castle top peering through a massive blowing sand. So there's possible there could be an ancient civilization also in the Saharan Desert, which may be also prove that A, maybe the Sahara was never always a desert, or B, someone decided that was the best place to build their castle away from any enemies, which would make sense, to be honest, because if you're in the middle of a desert, there's nothing blocking your way for miles. So you can see approaching enemies coming from miles in all directions. Only problem is you're in the middle of the freaking desert. So I don't know. So we'll see. And finally, this isn't an ancient ruin or civilization, but it's still kind of puzzling to NASA. And it's happening on one of the most interesting items in our universe. NASA discovers huge ice structures on Titan that should not be there. It's not like, because basically they've been having Huygens, I guess, has been around that area taking pictures of Titan forever, and they've poured over the stuff, and they've never seen this stuff before until a more recent photography of it. And all of a sudden, these strange ice structures have suddenly appeared out of nowhere, presumably out of midair on the surface. Now, a lot of people are believing that proves that there's a possibility that Titan might be active when it comes to like earthquake style type of stuff, which a earthquake might have happened, which caused the ground to shift, which pushed up these ice structures around. And it's only around, they say, the equator of Titan. So it's not, as far as they know, it's not anywhere else they can see right now. But around the equator, they discovered it in a number of different locations. So they're thinking maybe something happened, which would make sense if it's all along the same area and it's all stuff that hasn't been there before. So just kind of stuff. Titan is one of the absolutely most interesting objects in our universe ever. It's got an atmosphere that has lots of organic chemicals in it, including oxygen. It rains gasoline, and is also one of the only bodies in our planet and in the whole solar system, besides the Earth, that has liquid on its surface. Now, it's not water; it's a liquid, different type of chemical element or whatever you want to call it. There's oceans and rivers and streams of this stuff, and that's what I want to see. Now, they've announced, and I announced this on my show a while back, they're going to be sending probes to Titan that are going to explore these watery things, and I just want to see just liquid bodies on another planet. Now, other planets believe that there's oceans underneath the icy crust, but you cannot actually physically see them. Titan, you can see them, so we know they're there for certain. The ones in Titan, they're just not Titan. The ones in Europa and stuff like that, they're just anticipating that they're going to be there due to scientific study, which I believe they probably are. But we have not actually had any physical pictures of, hey, look, here's a body of water. No. On Titan, we've actually seen from aerial photography these masses of areas where this liquid is. So it's pretty cool. So with these mysterious ice structures appearing, that just makes that moon even more interesting and makes me want to go there like yesterday. Got a lot of Bigfoot news this week. Here's the first one. Bigfoot was filmed shaking a tree in Florida. Coincidentally, I'm reading the Bigfoot Casebook, which is a book I read back when I was a kid, and they've updated it to recent times. So I've been rereading it right now, and it's fascinating, some of the stuff that I'm reading. It's eyewitness accounts, stuff like that. And I've got a number of Bigfoot stories. I got this one. So Bigfoot was filmed shaking a tree in Florida. Bigfoot is not the reason for a Vermont bridge closure. There was a flyer that went out saying, despite what you may have heard, Bigfoot is not, the reason why our bridge is closed in Vermont, even though some people believe that it was. And where's the other Bigfoot one? Another one around here somewhere. Bigfoot statue, a statue of a Bigfoot, was stolen from the front of a North Carolina business. So we're starting to see a lot more Bigfoot stories now, where it's been a while since we've seen some. It's been kind of quiet for a while, but now we're starting to see more and more of these. And that's actually kind of fascinating, that maybe this new wave of electronics and stuff that we have, we might be able to find more proof that it actually does exist. Just reading the Bigfoot Casebook and seeing all the eyewitness accounts that there have been since the 1800s makes me go, there's something out there. Now, you could make a case that maybe they mistook bears for some stuff, but a lot of the things that these creatures did are not what bears do. So Or maybe your eyewitnesses are not reliable. I don't know. But regardless, there's been a lot of sightings of Bigfoot, and there's still sightings of Bigfoot to this day. So we'll see. A long lost silent film with an all Indian cast has been discovered, which is fairly fascinating because the one picture they had of it, they were dressed as the Indians, the cliche Indian type of look for them. So I don't know if, and who filmed it also, I don't know if it was just some Hollywood guy decided, hey, I want to make an Indian film. I found some real Native Americans and made them wear these costumes. I'm not sure that's the case. And right now, nobody really knows, but film historians are taking a look at the film right now and are trying to figure out what it is. But it is a silent film, so obviously it took place in the 1900s, around 1910, 1912, sort of around the time when film started making a huge arrival. So I guess more to be continued. Man gets a tattoo. This is a funny story. Let me set up the story before I get into it. So, guy has a dog. And one day he noticed this weird marking on this dog. It looked like a neat little design. It's like, oh, you got your own little tattoo. That's pretty cool. I think I want it too. So the dude gets a tattoo of this little mark that was on the dog. And then someone says, the reason why that mark is on your dog is to let people know in case he gets out or gets loose or gets lost, that he has been neutered. So this guy got a tattoo of the mark he found on his dog, which tells people that the dog has been neutered. So basically, this is telling people, I've been neutered also. Hell, I talked about eunuchs last week, and maybe this is going to be a continuing thread also. So that's kind of a funny story about that. This is kind of a creepy, yucky story. A Kentucky I guess a Kentucky political guy or whatever. I can't read my writing there. Wanted to ban books because he believed they were about homosexuality. Well, he was arrested for child pornography. And that's what you see a lot. You see a lot of these people who they claim they're against something and try to get stuff banned or gotten rid of. And in the end, they end up being the same person. A good example is abortion. They are huge, beating the drum on people getting abortions, but they are also the ones that have affairs and their mistresses get pregnant and they force them to have abortions. So it's hypocrisy at its most. The Republican Party is the biggest hypocrites in the whole world. I'll also say that Democrats probably have some hypocrisy in them as well. I just do not see it as much as I have in the Republican Party. So enough of that. Nintendo Switch, which is what we got last Christmas. Yeah, it was last Christmas. We got it last Christmas. The Nintendo Switch will be dropping a video game on September 20th that I want right now. It's called Honk Honk, and you play a loose goose who goes around honking at people. So available September 20th. I'm going to definitely check it out, possibly pick it up, and hopefully be as fun as the ad I saw on the Nintendo Switch page makes it out to be. This week marks the 80th anniversary of Marvel Comics. Now, a little history about that. 80 years, wow, that's a lot of time. We don't remember Marvel being around that long. Well, they honestly really haven't. Let me clarify. 80 years ago would be 1939, I believe. 39, 49. Yeah, because that's when Wizard of Oz came out, and that was last week, was their 80th anniversary. 1939. So 1939, the first issue of Marvel Comics #1 came out 80 years ago. It featured Captain America and the Human Torch, which is not Johnny Storm. It's a robot, that type of thing. And it was sort of like in response to the upcoming war that we weren't in yet, but it was getting close to that. And then there really wasn't any continuing Marvel comic from 1939 until 62, I think, was when I think the first 62, 60, yeah, I think 62 was when the golden age of Marvel started. So from 39 to 62, Marvel might have been producing some comics, but they weren't the comics that we know today. And then 61, 62-ish area, that's when Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, Joe Sinnott, I think, is in there as well, maybe a few others as well. They all decided to create this Marvel universe with the the creation of the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the Avengers, the Hulk, and then that spiraled out to the Marvel universe we know now. So Marvel and DC have always been basically mirrors of each other. If one does something, the other is bound to do it very soon afterwards. And it works on both sides. Marvel does something, DC does it very soon afterwards. DC does something, Marvel does something about it very soon afterwards. It's just the way it is, the way it works out. In this case, this year alone, we've had Action Comics 1000, Detective Comics 1000, but those have been officially going on since the 1930s. So there hasn't been a break. Now, obviously, there was a break with Rebirth when they rebooted both Superman and Batman and had them starting at number one again. But then much like what Marvel's been doing is every once in a while when it suits them, they go back to the old numbering and then they go back to doing new number one, stuff like that. So it's all confusing now. Regardless, they've actually literally been out for thousands of issues. There are thousands of issues of Detective Comics and Action and stuff like that. Well, Marvel this week released Marvel Comics 1000, which is the 1000th issue of Marvel Comics number one, which debuted 80 years ago this week. Even though Marvel Comics, the comic, has not really been around all that long. But again, they want to do it because it's celebrate our birthday, 80 years in business. DC had success with both Action 1000 and Detective 1000. It sold lots of them. They could sell those books for $10 a piece and people would buy them, and multiple covers as well. So Marvel did that, and they did. There's from what I said, it's like 80 pages by a different creative team, each one, telling kind of a disjointed type of story from what I've been told, but it is going to have effects on the upcoming. The main story is going to have effects on the Marvel Comics in the future, and a lot of other stuff was just sort of little, hey, we have Alex Ross who wanted to write and draw a page for this thing. So he decided to do a comic about 9 panels with the Hulk being interviewed by a reporter. That's what he wanted to draw. So it didn't really have anything to do with the series, but there is an underlying storyline that goes through the 1000. Now, I also saw in the comics that they're going to be releasing in Marvel Comics 1001, which is not going to be as square bound or as thick as the 1000, but it's going to be $4.99. It's going to have more creative teams in it. So I don't know what that's all about. That's coming out next month, I think. So, so there's that. So happy 80th birthday, kind of, to Marvel. To me, Marvel will always be the beginning. With Marvel began officially with the Fantastic Four in the 1960s. So what do I know? Robert Englund. Everybody knows him mostly as his iconic role of Freddy Krueger. Well, he's done a number of Freddy Krueger movies, Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Well, one of them, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, was a movie where a bunch of kids decided that they wanted to take the battle to Freddy and decided to work themselves into fighting off Freddy in their dreams. Now, Robert Englund and the cast of Dream Warriors have decided that they're going to perform a live stage version of that movie. I don't know where, I don't know how long it's going to be, but that fact that they're doing something like that is actually really quite interesting and quite funny. And that's actually really, really cool. So looking forward to that. Last year, Halloween was rebooted for all intents and purposes, even though a lot of people are ignoring everything that came before it, except for Halloween 1, I think maybe even Halloween 2 for that matter. So this one that came out last year was like Halloween 3, basically. Brought back Jamie Lee Curtis and had Mike Myers as older and coming back and killing people. Well, it was so successful that they are doing 2 more movies, which is going to end the Halloween franchise, according to these people. I doubt it. Eventually it'll be rebooted, whatever. But the interesting thing about that is the next one's going to be called Halloween Kills, and it's probably going to be out next October. And they're filming it right now, I believe. So they'll film it right now, they'll edit it, and then they'll hold on to it and release it around Halloween, obviously. That's what you want to do next year. But what's interesting is that they've actually, and I said this story a couple weeks ago, they approached, oh, God. My mind isn't working right now. Ant-Man. Oh, God. See, there's something wrong with me. I can't remember the name of Ant-Man. Ant-Man is Paul Rudd. Yes, that's right, Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd was one of the first movies he ever did was Halloween 6, which is shitty, by the way. It has an interesting idea behind it, but it was shitty. Anyway, they approached him he was playing the role of Tommy Doyle, who is the male, the boy child who survived the original Halloween movies massacre. So in Halloween 6, he played a more grown-up version of Tommy Doyle having to take on Mike Myers again. So they approached him to star in this Halloween Kills movie, to reprise his role as Tommy Doyle, even though they've gotten rid of that whole movie. They thought it'd be kind of cool as Paul Rudd. Why not get him back in there? Unfortunately, Paul Rudd is in the middle of filming Ghostbusters 3, so he would not be able to do it. So they ended up going with Anthony Michael Hall, which I think in itself is a pretty good idea. He hasn't been around. He's been around off and on. I think it's a good idea to bring him into it. You get, kind of a name. People know who Anthony Michael Hall is. You get kind of a name to come back in to play Tommy Doyle. That's good. But then they went out and they got Kylie Richards, who was the young actress who actually played the other Lindsay Wallace, the other child that survived the massacre. She'll be playing herself again as a grown-up, or will be playing Lindsay Wallace as a grown-up now in this new Halloween Kills movie. So the fact that you got the original Lindsay Wallace to play in the Halloween movie and then got Anthony Michael Hall to portray Tommy Doyle, I think that's a really good idea. Now, I have my own Halloween 2-part movie where I would play Tommy Doyle as a federal investigator and have a last-minute battle with Mike Myers. It was all kinds of greatness. I think about it every Halloween because I play the Halloween theme in my car on nonstop, going to work and back. And so when I play that music, it just makes me think while I'm driving about the trailers for the movies I would make for it. So there's that. Speaking of going back to kind of weird space stuff, China's lunar rover, which has on the dark side of the moon, has been there for a while, has discovered an unusually colored gel-like substance on the far side of the moon. Scientists are baffled. The Chinese are baffled. So they're going to do some more investigation on it, and they don't know how it got there or what it is. But it's when you hear that a colored gel-like substance is found on the dark side of the moon, that's kind of creepy to find out what that's all about. So hopefully we'll find out more about it. Now, I talked about Skeeter the cat, whose owner died at the age of 102. Well, we have another 102-year-old woman who's still alive, and she says her the secret to her long life is drinking beer. So go out there. If you want to live a long life, go out there and drink all the beer you want, particularly on this Labor Day weekend. Knock yourself out. A 3-year-old who went missing for 2 days in the woods was finally found, and she said that there was a bear that protected her from harm. So again, much like the first story I talked about today about the dog being saved by dolphins, again, a bear saving or protecting a 3-year-old girl is astounding. And the fact that it shows that animals may be evolving into a different type of form where they're starting to realize certain things. And I've revealed a whole bunch of other stories where animals have helped save people as well. There was the one pack of lions that guarded a young girl who was being attacked and was going to be kidnapped by a bunch of sex traffickers, and they ended up protecting her until people found her, and then when the people found her, they just walked away like there was nothing going on. So you got to love that type of stuff. So good on that. They didn't try to attack anybody because they knew these people were good. They attacked the people they thought were bad, but the ones that were good, they knew they were good, and they took off, knew the girl was in good hands. So I love these types of stories, and I'm not glad that the little girl was missing for 2 days, but the fact that a bear actually, instead of eating her, decided to protect her, and I think that's really, really cool. There's a new page on YouTube called Deep Fake, and what they do is they change up trailers or films and really do a really good job of photoshopping them, basically. The first one I remember seeing poor Scott. Scott Trotman, who usually watches the show, he and his husband moved into a new house, and he said, "Please get me through this day," because his husband's mother is here to help him unpack, and Luke's, I don't think it's his father, it might be his stepfather, maybe, is there to help as well, and he's wearing a "Make America Great" shirt or hat. Poor Scott. I feel bad for you, buddy. Godspeed to you, man. But deep fake is basically, the first thing I saw about it was a deep fake trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home. But instead of it being Tom Holland, they were able to make it Tobey Maguire. So basically, they photoshopped Tobey Maguire in all the scenes where he's supposed to look like Tom Holland, as if he was doing another Spider-Man movie. And the way they did it, though, it didn't look fake. It was literally like they put it into the film and had the characters reacting to it and stuff like that. And it had Tobey Maguire's voice, even though that one was a little weird because it sounded like they still had Tom Holland's voice, but maybe Tom Holland's voice and Tobey Maguire's voice were similar. That's what caused it. But then they did another one, which was Tom Cruise as Iron Man. Now, originally, Tom Cruise was supposed to play Iron Man. He was the first person they thought of to do it, but I think he ended up pricing himself out of it, and I'm glad, because I think Robert Downey Jr. did a really good job. But regardless, this deep fake group decided they were going to do not a trailer, but a series of scenes from all the Iron Man movies and Avengers movies, and Civil War, all the movies that involved Iron Man in some shape or another, but had Tom Cruise be in the shape, and they had his voice, and they had it all perfectly synchronized. And some of it looked good, and some of it looked really, really bad. The scene where he goes up against Loki and the Avengers, that's just straight up Robert Downey Jr. You cannot top that. Tom Cruise just sounded wooden and didn't seem like he was really doing a good job of that scene. So, but that's just, again, you can only do so much, but kudos to them. And I'll be interested to see what their next deep fake trailer / article is. So interesting. Let me just show you how scary the hurricane is right now. This is the hurricane right now. Yeah, that's pretty scary. So we've got that coming up soon. So just be careful out there, as I said. All right. Grocery store employee opens up a box of bananas and finds $1 million worth of cocaine in it. Sweet. Sell that shit. Make some money. Get the hell out of Dodge. No, I know. He did the right thing. He let the police know, whatever, and they took they took it. So I just did my GIF. So I always play I love that GIF. So interesting. 23-year-old woman practicing a dangerous yoga pose on a balcony plunges 80 feet to her death, or not to her death, and survives. I should say, that was the story. Yeah, you figure she would fall. If she fell 80 feet, she would die. She actually survived. But why would you do a yoga thing on a balcony in case something like that might happen. I don't know. I don't understand it. Makes no sense. So the Joker is a character that I really, really don't like a lot. He's okay in some circumstances, and they've shown him in 2 Batman movies already. Well, they're going to be doing, actually in 3 Batman movies, I should say. They're going to be doing, Joaquin Phoenix is going to be doing a Joker origin movie. Now, when I first heard that, I was like, God, so stupid. It's going to be awful. And then the first trailer came out. I was like, okay, they're trying for a 1970s cinema sort of feel, Oscar bait type of film, and I didn't really think much about it. But then I kept going back to it, and I started finding out that I kind of liked the trailer a little bit, and I kind of want to see where it is. Well, the new trailer was released this week, and again, it didn't really affect me as much as the first one did. Maybe it's one of those things where I need a little bit of space or time. The movie now is due to come out October 4th, and there's already been reviews of it because it would play the Venice Film Festival, where it is said to have gotten an 8-minute standing ovation. They believe that Joaquin Phoenix deserves, other reviews that I've read about it from people who were there said Joaquin Phoenix deserves an Oscar nomination for it. It is a truly unusual and uncomfortable film. And then we have the people who are saying, well, it's about a white psychopath sort of thing that kills people and stuff like that, and that's right on the nose about stuff that's going on in our world right now. So like saying that a lot of people don't want to see it because of that aspect as well. So I'm intrigued to see it, and I've already taken off October 4th, which is a Friday, which is my wedding anniversary. Don't tell my wife; she doesn't watch the show anyway, so she won't know. I'm going to. I've already taken October 4th and October 7th off. So I'm going to have a 4-day weekend that weekend. So October 4th, which is our anniversary, I'm actually going to deliver flowers in person to her, and then I'm going to take her to lunch. She works in Hunt Valley, and there's a bunch of restaurants in Hunt Valley. We'll go somewhere nice for lunch, and then I'll have her go back to work. So either before that or after that, I'll go see the Joker, because there's a movie theater also right over there too. So we go to lunch. If I take her to lunch, take her back to work, I can go see the Joker afterwards maybe. So we'll see. So I got that going on. So I'll see it, and I'll let you guys know. The final trailer just really, it didn't do it for me. I liked the first one for some reason, but the second one just sort of like, again, is sort of like, I'm not so sure about this. And then the reviews I've heard have been extraordinarily great. That's how great it is. But then we also have the people who are kind of freaking out a little bit about it. So we'll see. And I don't like the character of the Joker anyway, so I don't know. I'm still going to see it though, because I'm starting to get to that point where I'm getting older, and I want to see more of these sort of adult sort of films. You know, I love my comic book movies. I love my sci-fi. I love my fantasy, but I also want to see some of these more adult films. That's why I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and why I want to see this, and why I want to see The Irishman when it comes out on Netflix. You know, even though I hate mafia stuff, I hate extreme violence, and while I love Scorsese as a person, as a filmmaker, I'm just not a big fan of the films he makes. I mean, obviously they're probably really good, and there are some that he's done have been fantastic, but again, there's a lot of films that I don't watch of his because they just don't interest me. But I will forever talk about how great Martin Scorsese is, because he shows such a love for filmmaking, and that's what you need when you're a filmmaker. Same with Spielberg. He does the same thing. If you're a filmmaker, he absolutely adores film, and you know it too. But Scorsese outdoes Spielberg in that end, and that's how much Marty is so likable in that way. But his films just are a little bit too off for me. That's why I haven't seen a lot of them. Italy has passed a law to send unsold food to charities instead of throwing them in the dumpster, which I think is an absolutely brilliant idea. Now, some people are saying the reason why you don't do that is because if a homeless person or whatever eats the food that you give them from the old food that you didn't use, and they get sick, you're liable for them. They can sue you. You have to pay for their hospital bills, whatever. You're liable for that. That's why a lot of people just say, we'll just throw it out. So the fact that Italy passed a law about this is good. And I think, in all honesty, you probably should give your food and risk the liability of some to help somebody who is, not as fortunate as you are. NASA again. NASA has activated its deep space atomic clock, which could support ships out in deep space during explorations. It's there because it's a way that the way the atomic clock works, from what I read in the article, is it's easy to figure out distances. And if a deep spacecraft is flying towards a planet or whatever, they can send a signal back to the atomic clock, which is circling our Earth right now, and they can tell through science, physics, whatever, they can tell how far away something is from the click that they sent. So that's kind of interesting that they're doing that, and the fact that they're thinking about the future as well of spaceflight. An 18-foot long Burmese python was found in the Florida Everglades. Those suckers are huge, and 18 feet long is 3 of me lined up, basically. So, well, it's going to be 3 of me lined up would be a little bit bigger, but I couldn't give you the exact amount of what it would be, but still, it's freaking huge. So, there are 2 new Barbies out. There's a Rosa Parks Barbie, which is cool, a historical Barbie type thing, and a Dia de los Muertos Barbie as well, which is the Day of the Dead, which Latinos celebrate the Day of the Dead. So it looks cool, and both of them look really neat, and it's good that they're expanding to include more races. Colossal Nerf Elite Titan CS50 minigun will be available for pre-order now. For those who have young boys, or even, I guess, teenage boys that might still be interested in them, Nerf guns are everybody's favorite. They're guns they're actual guns, not like guns, but they're plastic-made guns that you load, instead of bullets, you load Nerf darts, and you go around and you shoot friends and stuff like that, and it doesn't hurt. They're Nerf. They bounce off of you, or sometimes they stick to you, depending on the suction cup ones, whatever ones you have. But there's a whole wide array of these guns out there. Well, now they have a giant-ass, colossal, Next Elite Titan CS50 minigun. So now you have a minigun of a Nerf minigun. So just crazy. Apparently, it said 5, but then they went on and did another story about 6. 6 more moons were named around Jupiter. Now, Jupiter has 79 moons, and only 64 of them are named. Now, the rest are like, JS24-101903, whatever. That's the classification, but they want to name it. They want to name these things because, it's neat to have named planets instead of, hey, what moon are you passing? You're passing JS2543625. Hey, what moon are you passing? I'm passing Enceladus. What sounds better? I like Enceladus better. Now, much like they've been naming stuff, Jupiter is the Roman god of Zeus. The Roman version of Zeus is Jupiter. So they've named the moons after his children and his lovers, and now they're starting to dig into the barrel of Greek and Roman mythology, and they come up with these names: Pandia, Ursa, Irene, spelled Eirene, Philofrogir, Eupheme, and Valutudo. So these are all actual gods, mini gods, lesser gods, whatever you want to call them. Like one is like the god of good luck or something like that. So they're these little mini gods that are actually in mythological myths, but they've named those moons out. So now you still have, as I said, you have 64 of the 79 moons named. So you still need to name 15 more. So I guess I'm going to see if they can find some more names. New Jersey, this is creepy. New Jersey woman burns a Pennywise doll after it mysteriously appeared in her yard. I think somebody was just playing a joke on her, but they bought a Pennywise the Clown doll and put it in her yard, and she freaked out and burned it, which is what horror people should realize, so you won't have these Chuckies or these Annabelle movies coming out. You burn these creepy looking dolls that are probably there to kill you. Student stumbles upon a 50-foot prehistoric snake while on a field trip. It was in these mines in like Chile or something like that. And this guy noticed that all the rocks he picked up happened to have fossilized like plants in them. So they went deeper into the mine and discovered a lot of fossils. And he was the one that found the snake one, which ate alligators, apparently. They also found like a 16-foot sea creature in this fossil in this cave as well, in this mine as well. And there was also and the people who ran the coal people, they had known about these because one of the guys who ran the coal department, he actually took a fossil that he found there and put it in a display case and just called it, fossilized rock or whatever. And when scientists found those other fossils, they decided to take a look at that once they heard the story and discovered it was a jawbone of a creature and not just some random bone sitting around there. So kind of an interesting story about that. How these people stumble upon stuff. I mean, the other thing also is a woman finds a 3.72 carat yellow diamond in an Arkansas state park. And we've been seeing a lot of those lately. There've been a bunch of stories about that as well. So kind of interesting. Florida prisons ban the comic book Watchmen and How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. I can maybe figure out why you would ban Watchmen, but why would you ban How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way? Unless it was, when you're drawing females, you got to draw the breasts, and maybe they don't want them to get too excited or something. I don't know. Whatever. Disney Plus will not feature R-rated fare. So if you're looking for R-rated Disney-style movies or Fox movies, I guess, or whatever, can't see them on Disney Plus. They won't be there. It's for family, basically up to PG-13, I would assume. But that's not a big deal because Disney also owns Hulu, and probably eventually will own Netflix. Probably not, but we'll see. But right now they own Hulu. So if you want to watch your R-rated films that they own, just go get yourself Hulu. As I said, there is a deal out there where you can get Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus for like $12.99 a month, which is absolutely really good deal. 12-year-old becomes the youngest student to ever get into Oxford University. We got ourselves a young Doogie Howser coming up real soon. Some local news. The other day, I was walking down the street with my wife doing our Pokemon Go stuff, and we had a snowball stand. There's a snowball stand near us. So walk by, and they have a sign out in front of it. Every day they have a different special and stuff like that. Well, I saw something I never thought I'd ever see before. They have a pumpkin spice snowball, which actually intrigued me, but I ended up not getting one after all. But that's kind of interesting, the fact that they decided to jump on the bandwagon with that. And yesterday also, I had taken my kids and wife to sell popcorn at a local 7-Eleven because I need to use the car to do some errands. And as I was driving down Owings Mills Boulevard, which is a 40-mile-per-hour road, a black Lamborghini roars up behind me, then switches lanes and roars around me going at least 90. And then it has to stop suddenly because they're in the far right lane, which are turn lanes. And a car was slowing down to turn into his neighborhood. The guy had to stop and almost rammed into him. So stupid, idiot, rich people. Eddie Murphy, who I've talked about, Dolomite Is My Name, which is the movie that's going to be on Netflix coming up probably sometime later this year, November-ish maybe, will be hosting Saturday Night Live this fall. First time since 1984, so I think that's really kind of cool that he's going to be doing that. See Eddie Murphy back on Saturday Night Live and see if he still got what he got. I think he's going to do fantastic. And finally, we're going to end the story part of our show on the poop patrol. San Francisco apparently has a poop problem. I guess homeless people, animals, whatever, their poop isn't getting picked up, so they've created a poop patrol to go around and clean up all the poop that's in their neighborhoods. Anniversaries this week. 27 years ago, Fire Walk with Me, the Twin Peaks movie, came out. 80 years ago, Marvel was born. 1996, September 1st, 1996, the first ever Baltimore Ravens football game in history that counted officially came out, and they actually won the first game against the Oakland Raiders. It's like 20 to 17 or something like that. 17 years ago, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. got married. I've gone from my obsession with wanting to date Sarah Michelle Gellar, now that I'm married also, to wanting our kids to get married. They have 2 kids as well, a boy and a girl. Their oldest is Charlotte, who is the same age as Noah. And then there's Rocky, who's a little bit younger than that. So I think Charlotte and Noah should go to the same college and meet each other and fall in love and date, and then I'd be in-laws with Sarah Michelle Gellar. I think I'd be happy with that. And Freddie Prinze Jr. 1963 is the anniversary. On this day, September 1st, 1963, is the anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King. And 10 years ago today, or this week rather, I should say, Disney bought Marvel. So that's it for episode 311. Well, actually, no, it isn't, because I got to do the Check Eye Day stuff. That's it for that aspect of it. Let's do some Check Eye Day stuff real quick. Boom. Check Eye Day. September 1st is American Chess Day, Building and Code Staff Appreciation Day, Chicken Boys Day, Emma M. Nutt Day, Ginger Cat Appreciation Day, National Cherry Popover Day, National No Rhyme or Reason Day, National Tofu Day in the UK, Pet Rock Day, Pink Cadillac Day, Toy Tips Executive Toy Test Day, World Letter Writing Day. August 31st is Eat Outside Day, Franchise Appreciation Day, International Bacon Day, Love Litigating Lawyers Day, National Diatomaceous Earth Day, National Matchmaker Day. This is all the 31st. National Trail Mix Day, Pony Express Day, Special Kind Words Saturday, We Love Memoirs Day. The 30th of August was College Colors Day, Forgive Your Foe Friday, Frankenstein Day, International Day of the Disappeared, International Whale Shark Day, National Beach Day, National Grief Awareness Day, National Holistic Pet Day, National Toasted Marshmallow Day, Slinky Day. And then tomorrow, September 2nd, which is going to be Labor Day, and we're off of work and school. Tomorrow is going to be, come on, website. Let's see, no, the next day. Bison 10 Yell Day. Bison, that's in Buffalo, 10, as in the number 10, Yell Day. Making fun of Bison 10 Yell Day. Labor Day, Calendar Adjustment Day, whatever the heck that is. Mouth Guard Day, National Blueberry Popsicle Day, Pierce Your Ears Day, Spalding Baseball Day, Victory Over Japan Day, World Coconut Day. So that's all tomorrow, September 2nd. And we're done. So next week, I don't know if I will be, I don't know, I'll probably be doing a show on Sunday again, because Saturday, maybe I might do Saturday night, because Saturday is the Rice Town Festival up here. The kids are going to be in a parade, and so there's that, so we'll see about that. And then, unless my math is off, the week after that will be my 6-year anniversary. I started the show in mid-September. I will be my 6th year of, I believe my 6th year of doing the show starts in a couple weeks. So in two weeks, I think, is my 6th year show. I'll do some numbers and crunch some numbers and think about that again. But I know it was sometime around the mid-September, like the 15th or something like that. So next week is the 7th and 8th of September, so it's not there. And as I said, we'll find out when I'll do the show then, because of the parade and the Restaurant Festival stuff. Stuff like that. So we'll see. But other than that, that's it. Have a great, pleasant weekend. Welcome fall. Happy meteorological fall, I should say. Be careful of the hurricane. If your kids aren't back in school, let them have a good school year. If they are back in school, hope they have a good school year as well. Get ready. Fall's coming. Halloween's coming. Thanksgiving, Christmas. Leaves, cider, all kinds of fun stuff.